Devotees are now in India. Many, many devotees. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkirpatadam Bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramanandamadhvam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने नामस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तारूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्त्याखं नमामि भक्ति शक्तिकं वन्दे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानंद सहोदितो गौरदाय पुष्पन्तो चित्रौ सन्तो तमोदम ओम पूर्णमद्य पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पुनश्च पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते नमस्य पुरुषत्वादियम् ईश्वरं प्रकृते परम् आलक्ष्यं सर्वभूतानाम् अन्तर्बाहरवस्थितम् जन्मेश्वर्या श्रुता श्रीभिर्यद्मानं मदः पुमान् नैव विधातुं वै त्वयं किञ्चन गोचरम् आत्मा रामस्य मुनय निर्ग्रन्थोऽपि रुक्रमे कुर्वन्ति हैतुकी भक्ति एतं भूतगुणो हरि हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य ही डिवाइन ग्रेसला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु एंड गौरंगा की जय और लिविंग बीइंग की जय असेंबल भक्त वृंद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नित्य गौरा प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। Hare Krishna. So we are in chapter 7. Chapter 7 talks about the evidences regarding devotional principles, which are basically limbs of the bhakti. So we went through 64 limbs, and out of those 64, 10 limbs are do's of the bhakti, and then the next 10 limbs are don'ts of the bhakti, and five most potent limbs, A, B, C, D, as normally we call, and then we went through some shastric evidence of those limbs, and we talked until I believe verse number until number 9. So we'll try to start from 9, and then we'll go from here as many as we can cover. So 9 or 10, I think we did. 10 we did. I think it should be about all. Yeah, respecting the day of the Lord, Hari Vashara Sammano, and then Dhatri, Aswathadi, Gauravam, respecting the Amla, Swathama, and other things. Okay, so let's get to number 11. Sri Krishna Vimukh Jan Sanga Tyagaha, giving up the association of those who are opposed to Krishna. This is important. Do we see people who are opposed to Krishna? Maybe directly, if you ask someone, they may say that they are not opposed to Krishna, but the way they act sometimes it might be opposing. Opposing, they don't want to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sampurna Shastra has, this evidence. Krishna personally has come and spoken in Bhagavad Gita, where he's saying that I am the seed-giving father and Bhoktaram Yaktab Sam Sarloke Maheswaram. I am the real Maheswar of Sarvaloka. But then there are people who say that, oh, Krishna is talking here as a guru. and he's talking about Brahman. All different types of interpretation on the name of devotional service. Krishna directly pointing out aham. What is this aham? What could be more clear than this? Lord Himself is using the word aham. So still with all of that evidence, we have people who think that Krishna is not the supreme personality of Godhead. Maybe Shiva is, or Brahma is, or something else is. Well, there is not really much room. For a believer, there is not much room. Says that if it takes time to come to the truth, that's acceptable. But once you come to the truth, then rejecting it is extremely worse. So Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and not having faith in that is basically trying to oppose the supremacy of the supreme personality of Godhead. Varamhuta vaha jwala panjarantar vyavasthitihi नासौरि चिंता विमुख जन जन समवासा वैससम jana samvasa means living together. Vaisasam must be given up. So it is preferable to remain within a cage of a blazing fire than to have the misfortune of living in association with a person who are opposed to thinking of the Lord. Na sorry, chinta vimukha. Chinta here is thinking, Sanskrit word for thinking. So, na sorry, chinta vimukha. One should not try to live with the person who is vimukha, away from Krishna. On the other hand, one should try to associate with the person who are looking towards Krishna, whose mukha is towards Krishna. And who are that? Devotee. And what happens if we have the association of such person? Darsana asparsana alpa sahavasa adivihi chanat bhakta punati krishnasya shakshad picha puksham. Beautiful. Darsana asparsana alpa. Just alpa, very little moment of a time. If we have a darshan, saha was adhivikshanat, get the opportunity to associate or live with devotee even for chana. What happened? Even an outcast, puksham, even the outcast becomes pure. Even an outcast becomes completely pure by seeing darsana, touching sparsa, and converging with darsana asparsana alpa, or living with saha vas adivihi, with Krishna devotees for even a moment. So that's the beauty of association of a devotee. It says here very powerful, pukcham, even outcast who are not in the Varnashram system, even a fallen person, very very fallen person, if he gets the association of sadhu, then he become pure, completely pure. Perfect example is Jagai and Madhai. By association of Haridas Thakur and Nityanand Prabhu, their heart got purified. So we have to have the association of a devotee, to associate with devotee who are who are having faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's our desire. But on the other hand, we should not try to associate with the people who are of the worldly type, who do not have faith, firm faith in Krishna. And who are those people? Sri Rupa Goswami is giving their names. These are the seven types of people who are not, or whose association is not desirable. Who are they? Mayavadis and atheists. People who are giving the concocted, interpretation of the Lord's position. They are they are Mayavadis. Mayavadi bhashya sunne haile sarvanas. By hearing their bhashya, all the piety that we have observed or accumulated, that will be nas. Mayavadi haile Krishna aparadhi. They are directly offending against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's very obvious. But the second category is the people who are sense inspired, bhogi, who is too much after sense enjoyment. Their association should also be rejected. And those who fond who are fond of the sense enjoyers, okay, who are attached to the people, who like associating with the people who are sense enjoyer. So being too attracted or too attached to the people who are the sense enjoyer, that type of people's association should also be avoided. And for men, for a worldly man, women association is undesirable, or for women, men association is undesirable if it's not based on foundational principle of bhakti. If it's just the interaction is for XYZ reason, then that type of association is unavoidable. And then the people who are womenizers, women chasing type of people, their association also should be avoided. But all of that, you can easily digest. But see the item number 6, what it says: hypocritically devout. Okay, so the people who are showing the devotion for hypocrisy, they don't have real firm faith in Krishna, but they showcase, and you can see them a lot in India, in holy places. Okay, so those hypocritical people, their association should also be avoided. Not should, shall be avoided or must be avoided. So that's why I highlighted that this is something that is very important. The people, how much uh, how much association we should take to a person. For sure, we have to also be some degree of, we also have to have some degree of advancement to see who is fully situated in Krishna consciousness. Madhyamadhikari has that sight. We have talked about it. That Madhyamadhikari, he can see. Kanishta cannot see. For Utmadhikari, he does not see the distinctions. He uh, whatever he sees, all the living being, he sees that part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of God. Sunichaiva Swapakacha. Pandita Samadarshina. Pandita has Samadarshita. So, uh, so Utmadhikari has crossed this intelligence of discrimination, but Madhyamadhikari can see, and then he accordingly adjusts his association with all of these people. To Lord, he will worship. To senior devotee, he will serve. To friends, he will make the matri, and one who are innocent, he will be compassionate. So it's very important also to have that understanding. How much association, it's very important. Wrong association can take us, out and may shake our faith. And then the seventh one is ill-behaved, foolish, outcast. Ill-behaved, foolish. Like the people who are jealousy, who are just sometimes you will see people, they unnecessarily argue. you know. So I'm not sure if you have heard the uh, word or not, but there is Vada, there is Jalpa, and there is Vidanda. Okay, this is not the scope of this course. I just wanted to share with you Vad, Jalpa, and Vidanda. Okay, Vad, Vad is where two people are talking on a spiritual foundation. One has a one has a logic, one has understanding, and the second person also has understanding, but they are exchanging their interaction, discussion. And the purpose of that is that by that word, if both of them wants to elevate, that's vada. Then there is another one where it's jalpa. Okay, and jalpa is basically devotees an argument takes place. Okay, an argument takes place for the purpose to prove that what I am saying is the right. But both have the understanding. So both of these personality have some technical understanding, but they are trying to prove who is right, who is wrong. So the perfect example of the Vada is Sambad or Vad of Maitreya and Vidura, Vyasadeva and Narad Munis, Maharaj Prithu with his citizens. These are the example of Sambad. And Jalpa. Jalpa is basically in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I can recall there is one pastime where Balbhacharya is coming and giving the interpretation of the holy name, and he is saying that how we all can chant holy name. Holy name is the name of the Krishna, and Krishna is the Purush, and all the living beings are Prakriti, women. So how, in that case, if the living beings are women and Lord is Purusha, then how wife can take the name of the husband? Okay, so this is it's kind of a logic. But then when Sarup Damodar convinced him that no 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 no, Mahaprabhu said I don't want to see the face of this person. Then finally he understood. So some argument, but Bitanda is a situation where they don't want to hear. They don't know anything, zero understanding, but they will just, come to you with the mindset to prove that you are not, worthy. What you are saying is, useless. Look at you, who you are, and you are teaching me. Just Bitanda is like, just chop, just cut it. I don't want to hear anything. Whatever you say, I have no understanding, but I will refute it. So Bitanda is worse, very, very worse. So ill behaved, foolish outcasts, people who are, Bitandi, who just talk just to, you know, pull ourselves down or, pull us down. That type of person, their association should be definitely avoided. So sambad is very important. Devotee. Normally we do sambad. Or what is the purpose of the sambad? The purpose of sambad is that collectively we are exchanging our knowledge to elevate, to come up. I learn from you, you learn from us, we learn from, and by this way we are changing, we are exchanging the knowledge, and by that exchange we come up, we elevate in our consciousness. There is no issue of false pride, there is no issue of going up, there is no issue of going down, but that happens only when one is in perfect position, if one is in a perfect mood to help oneself and help other. So these are the some of the people whose association should be avoided. And then 12 to 14, 12, 13, 14 theory items are together here. There says a Sishyadi Anubandhitvadi Trayam, attachment to the disciple, and the following two items. Let's see what are those following items. Na Sisyan Anubandhinita Granthan नैव अभयासेद अभयासेद bahun multiple ना व्याख्याम उपयुंजिता नारांभन arabhet kvachit, arabhet kvachit, arabhet kvachit. So na sisyan anubandhinata. So for sure, a sannyasi should not be too much attached for making the disciples. Sannyasi must not be eager to make especially unqualified disciples. Nasisyam anubandita. Nor should he unnecessarily read books to prove that he can argue or to prove that he's better than others or for any other ulterior motivation. Nor should he unnecessarily read books that disrespect the Lord or not take part even in a discourse as a means of livelihood. He should not engage in big projects which distract him from his spiritual goals, especially books, reading too many books for mental satisfaction, which has nothing to do with Krishna consciousness, and also uh, taking a big project such as building a temple. There is a past time where there was one learned man. He was, moving all around the world, all around India, and whoever he was doing the argument, he was asking them to sign and accept his authority that he is superior and he has defeated him. So he kept on doing. And at that time, Banaras even today also in India, Kasi was considered the center of, knowledge. Especially so many Mayavadi, great Mayavadis like Prakashanand Saraswati and all of those people were residing there. So he came to Sanatana Goswami and he said that he wants to argue and defeat him. Sanatana Goswami said that without even arguing, I'll sign off. I defeated. Then Jiva Goswami came and said that no, hold on. You all know that story. I just wanted to tell that to make the point. So pure devotee or a devotee not necessarily try to engage into argument, or there is no desire to show also that I know or you don't know. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. If it has to do with Krishna, yes, he will come and talk. But if it has nothing to do with Krishna, it's nothing to do with it. Doesn't matter he's losing or he's gaining. These are some of the higher, mode of understanding, higher mood, or maybe the symptom of advanced devotee. But a sannyasi, a renunciant, should not unnecessarily waste their time, trying to basically argue with the people, or also not waste his full time in building a temple and running a big show and being distracted from their bhakti. Okay, so this world will stay as it is, by the way. The real master is Krishna. Everything belongs to him, and people will come and go, and it will stay like that. I remember one person was saying that see how Krishna has been, created this world. People are not even able to see it. He has, given all the opulence and not even a single person watching anything and nothing, nobody takes. Everything stays here. When I heard that, I really loved it. I said, that's true. So it's like that, everything belongs to Krishna and Krishna will ultimately be the master. So don't unnecessarily try to waste too, but people don't understand. People don't understand. I was just citing this verse in the morning that anarthopasana sakshat bhakti yoge adhokaja lukas janati na vidwams chakre satvitam samhitam. This ordinary man or ordinary people, they do not know that by bhakti yoge adhokaja, by engaging in the bhakti of Adokshaje. Adokshaje is the name of Krishna, who is beyond our senses. They do not know that all the anartha pasanam sakshat, all that suffering that one is going through will be taken out, will be completely removed off. They don't know it. Lokas janati na vidwams. They don't know. Lokas means ordinary people. They don't know. So what happened? Vidwans, the learned person, chakre saptitam samhitam. They they give them the writing. They give them the shastra. Give them the scripture. So so sannyasi sannyasi for sure is concerned about uh, other living being. Sannyasi is concerned about themselves and making sure that all of them go back to Krishna. He unnecessarily doesn't want to waste their time of something in something that is not that is not worth valuable, wasting the time. So disciples, books and temples. Not so many unqualified disciples, not reading so many useless books, and not getting oneself into a uh, bigger project that will take the sleeping of the night. Vyavhare api akarpanayam. Wow. Vyavhare api akarpanayam. Not feeling miserable and not performing degrading acts in distressing circumstances. Albadheva vinasateva bhaka bhak भक्ष्या आच्छादन साधने अविकाल्वात्मतिर्भूत्वा हरिमेव धिया स्मरेत् हरिमेव धिया स्मरेत् हरिमेव धिया स्मरेत्. One should remember the Lord dhiya asmaret. With dhiya here refers to intelligence. So one's intelligence should be always engaged in remembering the Krishna without being undisturbed. Because when one does not attain food or clothing or any other items, then one might get disturbed. And any type of disturbance, it's being said here, that will not be that will not be in favor of one's cultivation of devotional service. And we saw some verses, right? That they say that if there is hand given, then why we need bed, all of that verses, if you recall. So devotee absorbed in the service, however, will perform service corresponding to the materials he obtains. There is some noise here. And thus will make efforts to obtain those items if these items are not present, instead of simply remaining indifferent to loss or lack of those items. So too much attachment and too much detachment. Both of them are not good for our devotional service. Raga and Dvesha. Raga, too much. In fact, there are 5 causes of suffering, right? Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, and Anivesha. So Rag and Dvesh, too much attachment. Raga, too much attachment. Too attach. So what happens if too attach is there? Lamentation comes. If there is too much attachment. And Dvesa, if there is too much Dvesa also, then that's also, brings lamentation. So a devotee should not be too much attached or too much detached. Too much detachment also. Mayavadi does it. That's very detached. Very detached. But what happens? What happens? Bhagavad Gita says that yeah, senses are in control as long as they are not seeing the sense object. But as soon as the senses are seeing the sense object, it becomes agitated. It becomes agitated. And then all the renunciation, all the, artificial control over the senses, breakdown, and then they end up causing havoc. They end up causing the problem. So many story you can remember. So many great people what they have done. They run away with women, or they steal the money, or they will be killing people. So artificial renunciation is not important. It's not emphasized. And whenever there is artificial renunciation, the weakness is still there. The problem has not been solved. So Devbanda Krishna Sambandhe, uh, coming to the stage where understanding the utility of the principle, which also called Yukta Vairagya, how much Vairagya is needed, that devotee knows. Prabhupada, have gave the very example. He said that, yeah, I can take all the money of the world, but what he would do with the money, he'll build temple, he'll spread the Krishna consciousness. So devotee, we are not. Sometimes people say, criticize that you are also working, I am also working, you also do XYZ, I also do XYZ. But yes, utility is the principle. Yeah, for sure. On the common way, there is not much different, but difference is in their understanding. So too much attachment and too much detachment is not important. It also comes in Upanishad. Anyway, so anybody has anything on this attachment detachment part before I move to the next one? Are you clear what I'm talking?
Yes, Prabhu.
So how? I think we have talked about that the the material activity is governed by what is the drive for material activity? Raga and Dvesh. People who are not Krishna conscious, they are driven by Raga and Dvesa. Oh, I like something, I want it. I don't like something, I don't want it. Okay, so ordinary people, they are driven by Raga and Dvesa. And then the second class of the people who are so called following the dharma, they are driven by dharma and adharma. Dharmo sankalpo, dharmo vivarjito. Whatever is dharma, and where the guidance for dharma comes from dharma shastra. Like there are so many dharma shastra. Manusmriti is one of the dharma shastra. So there are so many ritualistic shastra that tells if your parents passed away, you have to do the shrad. All of these are part of dharma. Satyam vada dharmam chara. You know, always speak truth, follow dharma. So they are governed by what is dharma and what is adharma. But what is the guiding principle for a devotee? Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. You know, whatever is being used in the service of Krishna, this is Yukta Vairagya. It takes time, but that's the goal. A devotee has to, at some point, come to the stage of Yukta Vairagya, so that in Yukta Vairagya state, only in a Yukta Vairagya state, one knows how to use. What's the utility of a certain object that exists? That vision only develops when one is in the Vairagya stage. So a pure devotee can exactly and perfectly utilize the things of the material world, not other people. And perfect example is Divine Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada perfectly. Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Maharaj perfectly, he was criticized. Oh, you are sannyasi. Why you are, riding this at that time, riding on the car? Prabhupada, I know. Prabhupada, in this case, Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Maharaj, he said that Krishna has given it. I'm going to use it for Krishna. Prabhupada was criticized that you are flying all over the place and you are thinking all the time, this building, that building is like businessman. Prabhupada said, no, all the technology that we are using, computer, phone, Prabhupada said, no. So the real utility is right, in Yuk Vairagya. So devotee knows how to use things in a proper way. The 16th word is that Soka Adi Avas Varitah, not being controlled by lamentation or other emotion. 17. Anya Devanjana. So, not having respect for the devatas or disrespecting the devata. Hari Reva Sadradhayaha Sarva Deves Varveswaraha Itare Brahman Rudrayadaya Naiva Anjaya Kadachanaha Naiva Janeya Kadachanaha. So Hari Reva Sadar means respect. Sadar Adaya, only having the respect, one should always worship Hari in the translation way. Uh, one should always worship Hari, the Lord of the Master of all the Devata. On the other hand, one should never disrespect such as Brahma, Shiva, and others. So for devotee, even, and this is a very important point, by the way, this is a very important concept. This is something that we can apply. Okay, seeing people, oh, I am Indian, so I have to, like Indian, or I am American, I have to like American. This type of vision is not good. I know people promote it, but there is different school of thought. I'm in a school of thought where I believe that no, whatever it is, one should never be biased based upon where it belongs to. Bhagavatam has very clear, you know, beautiful verse that says that Sarapadhiri Binur Mukte Tatpravate Narirmalam Risike NarisikesamSevanam Bhakti Uchyate. So Sarapadhi Binur Mukte, drop the weight. Whatever weight you are carrying, at some point you'll have to drop. Mritu Sarvara Samaham. If you don't drop it, Krishna will one day take it out. So it's better to feel that pleasure, you know, release that uh, that taste of not carrying the load. So it's very important that devotees should develop this bhav of disrespect, and I see that. You can see that very much happening. People use different criteria to prove somebody that that person is inferior to me. I am superior to that person. This is all neti platform. It's all very lower stage. Our mood should be, what should be our mood? What Mahaprabhu has said. Can anybody remind what Mahaprabhu has said about the mood of a devotee?
Jivera Swarupa Hoya Krishnera
Yeah,
Nityadasa.
but in Chaitanya Siksha, what he is saying in Chaitanya Sikshastakam, amananiya man dena.
You know,
That's all. So it's very powerful verse, very powerful verse. Okay, amananiya man dena kirtaniya sadhari. If you want to really uh, stay engaged in kirtana, then we have to develop that mood of amananiya mandena. That's all. One deserve man or one does not deserve the man. This is not my intelligence to even decide. Amananiya mandena, whoever that living being is, and I will get into that. There are four types of aparadha. One of the aparadha is jiva aparadha, that trying to you know put somebody in a particular corner thinking that this person deserves that. Okay, that's not how a devotee does, and that's the symptoms of the advancement in the bhakti also. Very perfect example is once again Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, did he do any bifurcation, any differentiation? For everybody, wherever they are, however they are, he created a synergistic environment for that group of person to flourish. Exactly. That's what acharyas have done too. Six Goswamis, that's what they have done. Mahaprabhu, that's what he did. So, a devotee who are following the footstep of Mahaprabhu and acharyas, that's the vision they develop. This discrimination type of thing, is not. important, not needed at all, rather coming out of it, coming beyond it, developing a, yes, yes, sometimes we have to act in a certain way, but be very, very aware, but not getting caught into it, rather coming, above that. So disrespect definitely to none. We don't have to disrespect anybody, rather we respect. Jew does not even uh, disrespect ant. Okay, and beautiful example, given by Mirgari Hunter. He was a man who was half killing the animal. He will just that was his passion. He liked half killing the animal and leaving them, die, jumping and suffering. But Narad Muni said, no, 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 this is too much. I have to stop this person. Then he just went and said that if you are killing the living being, why don't you just kill them? Why you are just half killing and leaving them suffer? And the way they are suffering, you are going to suffer too. You'll be also, jumping, half killed and you'll be suffering. So just kill them if you, because there are some argument, some discussion, and Brigadi Hunter says that, oh, this is our family lineage. I am born into a hunter family. So everybody in my family has profession of hunting. And that's what I was taught from my father, that I have to kill the animal. He said, yeah, yeah, go ahead, keep on killing, but don't kill them, like half. Just kill them. And he started killing, animal completely, slowly and slowly, slowly. And then he said that, you know, uh, uh, kill the animal completely, and if you can, you know give some time, think about it, and slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly, he started meditating on the animals that he was killing. Transformation started happening slowly and slowly, and a time came after a few years. Narad Muni is coming with his friend to see, and then he has a cottage on the bank of a river, and he was fully, engaged in devotional service. His heart has fully transformed. Of course, it's Narada Muni. And then when Narada Muni came to see, he saw that the ants were passing by, and he started using his towel to sniff them off, so that when he is paying obeisances to Narada Muni, he doesn't fail on those ants, on the line of the ants. So see the transformation of the consciousness. So that's why I presented that story. This story present example of transformation. This present example that how when we have transformed in our consciousness, how we start seeing. We might be at some point very proud of killing half. Okay, that is also one of our stages. Mirgari was very happy doing it. But when transformation happened, he also came to the stage where he was not even, failing on line of the ant. So what difference was there? And now in that stage, he was able to see the original position. So that's another thing. Tamsoma Jyotirgamya. The Tamsoma Jyotirgamya has different degree of meaning. Once we come to the light, then we would be able to understand that I was in the dark. So let that transformation happen. That is why this is very, very important, that we should not develop this respect for other living being based upon some sort of artificially material designation that we have created, rich and poor, master and servant. Nobody is master, nobody is servant, nobody is rich, nobody is poor. Gun karma swabhav. This everybody is outcome of their gun karma and swabhava. So this 18 is also similar to that one, and that says that Bhutan Anudvega Daita. Bhutan means living being, all the living being. Anudvega means anxiety. Daita means the one who gives. So one should not be basically giving the anxiety to other living entity also. That's part of the Jiva Prad. So that's what we studied in chapter 7, and then we are moving to chapter 8. But anybody has anything, any realization, any questions, anything that I misspoke that you want to clarify on before we move to the next chapter?
Totally, how many chapters are there, Prabhu?
19 chapter.
Hmm. So how long it will take? July, end of July or end of August?
I don't know. It might take at least 1 week, one chapter. So 10 more chapter, which means 3 more months at least, and then exams, and we should be good. Well, you wanna finish it quickly, Prabhu?
It looks like it is taking more time than Bhagavad Gita. That's what I'm thinking. Nectar of
Oh,
Devotion.
Nectar of Devotion definitely will take more time.
Hmm.
Nectar of Devotion definitely will take more time. Yeah,
So, Prabhu, there's a question. I think you
yeah.
asked through that in a few slides. So, not accepting unfit disciples, and what does that really mean? I think that was just which was number 12 to 14. Yeah, yeah. So, quality of a sannyasi, disciples, books, and temples. Can you explain that more? Because I thought that disciples, once people, they accept, then there's no unfit disciple. I mean, they all learn with their own degrees of how much they've learned through the course of time, and everybody's progress is not the same. In bhakti, some people take years, some people maybe ready in 2 days. So what's the take on this?
So there are multiple examples, and here literal meaning of the unfit disciple is basically disciple who is taking Krishna consciousness for ulterior motivation. Like for example, just to make the point clear, not everybody is coming to Krishna consciousness nowadays to become really a devotee of Krishna. It will be hard for you to digest what is happening. People come because maybe they think that, oh, let's take the devotional service. They will marry, with some white lady and they will settle in the foreign, or they will have the visa, or they will go to the see all the, we have invited so many people who come, or they get paid, they charge for their services. So many ulterior motivations. Also, they are so called trying to take bhakti, but they are not really, their main motivation is not to purify their consciousness. Rather, they are trying to, do it for ulterior motivation. With the due course of time, slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly, that person will transform. Changes will happen for sure, no doubt about it. But their upfront motivation is not to take the process of bhakti, and that is why it's there is a guideline given in bhakti. I've forgotten the name of Sanatan Goswami's book, Bhakti Vilas. That it says that guru should examine the shishya and shishya should examine the guru. That examination needs to happen to make sure that both of them are suitable for each other. If they are not suitable for each other, then guru should not accept the shishya, shishya should not accept the guru. So this is not literally, I mean, I know what you were saying, Prabhu. You are a little bit up here. You were talking, a little bit on the higher stage that once, if we have taken the bhakti seriously, the goal is to take the devotional service, but there is some weakness that's not, is being spoken here, in my understanding. The subject that being spoken here is that taking bhakti completely for wrong reason, and that type of people, as a spiritual master should be, ready, or should be able to investigate that this person has what's the desire of that person is. That's why if you look the traditional style of Guru Shishya Sambandh, even the king's son or whoever they are, they will go and live in a uh,
Ashram.
yeah, ashram, and then they will work together. No matter whatever designation that person is. So that's what it is. Right now, that is not happening. So sometimes we end up having, some of the people coming to the society whose motivations are not correct. They create problem. They create problem for themselves, create problem for others devotee. They just, so you have seen it, right? It happens, right?
Yeah.
People come, in India, Prabhu, sorry to say that, but there are some, examples where people just take the bhakti because they have some XYZ motivation. People who has not flourished and, earn name and fame in outside world, they think that, these are the good, group of people. I can get into there and get name, fame, power, prestige. So all of that, it do happens. But the goal is that one should be taking Krishna consciousness, in a serious way.
Thank you.
So the next chapter is chapter number 8, offenses to be avoided. And in this chapter, basically, there are 4 types of offenses: seva aprad, nam aprad, dham aprad, and jiva aprad. But we are very much going to talk about the seva aprad, which is when we are doing the deity worship, the seva that we do to the deity. And there are 32 type of offenses mentioned here in the uh, summary. So Prabhupada has mentioned 32 offenses. And then there are 10 prominent offenses that's, about holy name. And then not much about dham and jiva. Little bit, but not much. So next chapter we are going to basically talk about the offenses against deity worship, and then offenses about holy name, and then this chapter will finish. So that's what I wanted to share today. And if you all want to finish this quickly, I can clump like 2 3 chapters together, just give you like essence. It totally depends on you. If you all, some of you do want to go systematically, some of you want to
No,
just
no, Prabhu, this is good, I think.
now if you want to, all these like 32
I
offenses,
think
when you hear the 32 offenses, then you will know how many already offenses we make in the temple. Already, so much description, basically Rupa Goswami has given how to get into the temple, what should be the mood of a temple, don't get without taking shower, if you are doing deity worship, or if you are only prasadam to deity, make sure that you have clean, all of that. So, those are very important. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is very, very important. If you miss Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, then it will be difficult. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu really help us cultivate the right understanding, the right mood. So yeah, totally up to you. All I have to do is that you give me the homework and give the exam. I'm good. You score good, I'll give you the mark, and then you get the certificate. So 19 limbs is seva nam aparadha nam varjanam. The aparad that is related to seva, deity worship, and holy name, those two aparad here he says that should be uh, virginum, should be avoided. The devotee should avoid the offenses in deity worship described by me, O earth, at all times and with great care. Oh, by the way, so uh, there are basically different number of offenses about holy name and about deity worship. But we are going to refer to Padma Purana. If you look at other Puranas, then there are more number of offenses. But Padma Purana has 32 offenses, and also 32 offenses for deity seva and 10 offenses for holy name. If we change it, if we refer to different Purana, then that number might be more. And I'm seeing here that Varaha Purana and Narsimha Purana, they have another other 42 list of the offenses. So Varaha Purana has 32, and then sorry, Padma Purana has 32, and Varaha and Narsimha Purana has another list of 40. Two offenses. So there are so many offenses that could happen. You
Prabhuji,
were
can you
saying
please repeat that again? I just missed one. You said Padma Purana has how many, Prabhuji?
Padma Purana has 32, and then from Braha Puran, Narsimha Puran, and Vishnu Dharmottara, and some other places, the list that given is of 42. And then for Nam Aprad, Nam here refers to holy name. Nam Aprad, there are 10 offenses, and that's coming from Padma Purana. Is that good, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's finish reading this one. A person who commits all offenses is free from all those by taking complete shelter of Hari. But the two-legged animal who commits offense against Hari is freed from those offenses by taking shelter of the Hari's name. However, though the name is the friend of all, by committing an offense against the name, a person falls to the lower regions. So Harinam Aparadhe Tare Harinam. A person may commit other offenses, and there could be other method by which his offenses can be nullified. When one is causing aparad against holy name, then the only way to mitigate is taking deeper shelter of the holy name. So we'll talk about these verses in next class. Anybody else has any realization, any questions, anything that they would like to share? I see here Ramkishore Prabhu is saying that we should have a 90-minute class instead of 60-minute. Okay, I'm good.
It takes 90 minutes anyway, Prabhu.
It takes 90 minutes anyways.
So,
This is true. Yeah, 1 hour is short. Yeah, by the time you set up everything, get into the rhythm. Uh, so we started last year, right? How long it's been? March, maybe March or April,
remember.
somewhere around June time. I will have to go back and look at. So 1.5 year, is not bad. You all are lucky to have Bhakti Sastri if you can get it done in 2 years. You know how many years I took? I took too long time because I was maybe like first or second batch when the whole thing was starting.
I think
In
I
this
think our
We
okay.
started in August, Prabhuji.
Oh, last year August, huh?
Yeah. I think August, yeah, because I think by August 10 or something, you received all the registration forms and everything.
I'll have to go
We
back and look
started,
at. I do
yeah.
not remember. Yeah, yeah. Gita, we had to go a little faster because most of the subject, you all are hearing every day in day out. But I spent a lot of time on the subject where I should have spent, such as Nectar of Instruction, Ishopanishad, and Bhakti Samrita Sindhu. These theory I spent a lot of time because I felt that these are some of the teaching that is not very common. Unless and until you are not into Sastric area, these things you would never, study very carefully. Bhagavad Gita normally devotee studies very carefully. Okay, so anybody has anything else they want to share?
Prabhu, in this translation here, that the last line, if you see, by committing an offense against the name, a person falls into lower regions. But if you see the history of Kamsa, Sisupal, so those people have elevated to higher regions.
So what type of aparad they have done?
Thinking about Krishna all the time and in a negative thought, So
So what is your answer?
he says a person falls into lower region.
Right. Ordinary, if the people are committing the offense against the holy name, that person will fall into the lower, regions of creation. Maybe in hellish planet.
But my point is they got elevated, no? So they got liberated. That
So when battlefield of Kurukshetra happened, what happened to all the people who were killed?
They all got elevated too.
Did they receive the Krishna Prem?
in any battle, if they lose it, they may go to Swarga.
Yeah, they will go. They were basically. So if you look at
So, Prabhu, what I heard
Rukmi, yeah,
from Srila Ramapada Maharaj is when Krishna is killing somebody, and by the touch of Krishna, they get liberated.
yes. I was coming to the point. So liberation, is it the goal? That's the point. So if we setting ourselves up to be liberated, or are we setting ourselves up to get the Krishna Prem? Or these limbs that we are talking about here, are we talking it about for liberation, or are we talking about Krishna Prem? Please answer. That
Krishna
ends the
Prem. Krishna
huh?
Prem. Krishna
Krishna
Prem.
Prem. So did Kansa receive the Krishna Prem?
Yeah, because
No.
the point is he's offensive, so he should go to lower planets, lower regions.
Yeah. So we'll go to the point-wise point. So
As per Padma Purana.
we'll go to point-wise point there. So first thing is that he did not get Krishna Prem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our goal is to receive Krishna Prem,
Yes.
right? So we saw, few classes back that devotee does not have any desire for any type of liberation. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
for sure, merging into body of a Krishna, or merging most of the time, they get Brahman, realization. They merge into Brahman. Brahman is for devotee much worse than anything else. They don't wanna. We are talking about here Krishna prema. So by not committing the offense against the holy name, we are setting ourselves up to receive the Krishna prema. That's number one. Number two, when Lord is personally present, his form, his name, form, quality, pastime, whichever, if it's present, then that has the potency. And perfect example is that 100 offenses, even after 100 offenses, when Krishna killed, somebody is being killed by Krishna. So if Krishna is killing somebody, how come that person will go to hellish planet? Right? All the warrior in the field of Kurukshetra, Krishna not kill them. They were killed by other warriors, or they were killed by Kauravas. Some of the, Kauravas people were killed by Pandavas. Some of them were killed by other people. But all of them, they liberated because of the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Lord was personally present. He was personally present. And if one is dying in the presence of Krishna, how come that person will go to the hellish planet or to the lower planet? For sure, they get the higher salvation, they got higher position, but they did not get Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema can only be obtained by bhakti. So here we are basically talking about the people, ordinary people. It's not talking about Kansa, or you're not talking about somebody very specific. It's being talked here that a person who is this is Bhakti Samrita Sindhu. So this is basically for a person who has some degree of faith. For that type of person, if that person is not following the uh, recommendation of offensing against the holy name, then that person is deteriorating. In fact, uh, even if you are not following the advised, recommended process, still you will elevate. But this here is basically talking about the people who are not engaged in the process of bhakti, but deliberately they do offense against the holy name. That type of person will be destined to go to the lower planet. But someone who has uttered the name of Krishna even offensively once, perfect example is just perfect example is our who is that perfect example? Just chanted once name of Krishna with offense.
Yeah.
Ajamil, yes, just once, even with offense. So that's what it is. So by presence of Krishna, being Krishna in present, one is not going to go to the lower planet system. But also at the same time, that person will not get the Krishna prem. Here we are talking about that if one is striving to receive that Krishna prem, then one should be very respectful towards the holy name. Was it good enough, Prabhu, or you need some more? So
Thank you, Prabhu.
Kansa is not a example here, Prabhuji, because Kansa first for sure, number one, he was not a devotee. He has nothing to do with devotional, aspect. At the same time, since Prabhupada in one of the purport in Bhagavatam says that Kansa he perfected his life by, and this will answer your question. This will further reinforce this that Kansa perfected his life by being inimical with Krishna. Other examples are given. Like Putana and other people, they perfected their life by trying to kill, Krishna. Many acharyas in past, they have perfected their life by engaging in the devotional service of Krishna. All the examples, come. Draupadi perfected her life, by fully depending on the mercy of Krishna. Likewise, devotee, like all of us, we can perfect our life by fully engaging in the devotional service of Krishna. In one of the purports, Prabhupada very nicely mentioned. So all of them, doesn't matter whichever, by inimical way or by friendly way, approaching to Krishna is perfection. But also in that perfection, there is category. Saipum samparo dharmam yato bhakti adhokaja ahitukya pratyarta. So the unless and until devotee uh, come to the stage where they think that now I'm trying to engage myself in param dharma, any other, you know, dharma is also there. Any other occupation might be relatively better. But the param dharma is engaging in the ahitukiya pratyarta bhakti of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Kansa was not engaged in ahituki bhakti, but he did get some higher goals because it was in connection with Krishna. So we all are not supremely advanced devotee, but we have done some bhakti in connection of Krishna. Then that what we have done will help, and slowly that will make our life perfect. So Kamsa is a very unique example. Jagai Madhai, there are Kripa Siddha, there are Sadhana Siddha, right? So what we are talking about is Kripa Siddhas. Lord, by their mercy, they are Jai and Vijay, other forms of Jai and Vijay. So Lord sometimes be, uh, very merciful, and by his kripa sakti he can empower somebody, he can help somebody. But most of the time the most proven fact for all the living being is sadhana siddha. We are trying to perfect our life through sadhana. So what we are talking about here is for sadhaka, not for personality like kamsa who or kripa siddha. Jagai Madhai was kripa siddha. Dhruv Maharaj in 6 months he perfected his life because he was uh, Kripa Siddha. So there are many examples in Shastra who Narad Muni personally came and helped them. Okay, so any other question? Thank you, Prabhu. It was a good question. Anybody has anything else that they want to share before we adjourn? Anything else? That's into Mataji. You want to share? Maharaji did say something else, or was it like, is anything else that I'm missing?
No, Prabhuji, exactly the same thing. The thing is that Kamsa was also engaged in taking Lord's name all the time. So that's why he got liberated. And also Putana example, where he mentioned that for fraction of second or minute, she thought in a way of a mother to nurse
Yeah,
the Lord. So she actually got a place in Vaikuntha.
as a mother.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so anybody in contact with the Lord. So Lord's quality, right? Apapa vidham, where somebody, even if he is sinful, comes in contact with the Lord, they'll become sinless in a way.
Yeah, for sure. Otherwise, why it's Lord, right?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
Right? If somebody coming close to Krishna will have the same destination as an ordinary person, then why Atmaramasya Munyo Nirgranthra Purukrame? Why all of these Atmarams and Nirgranthis and all these renunciants they would try to take the process of bhakti, right? Yes, good point.
At the same time, Maharaji mentioned that we should our approach should never be in the negative, because our destination is not liberation, or like you mentioned, it's not our destination, and that's not the process one should follow. Like the negative examples like Kamsa, Sishupala, and all those.
Yeah.
And those were, most of them were pastimes of the Lord.
Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna, and I'll see you all next Saturday. I think we are very much in the last part of this course, so should not take much longer time. Dandavad, take care, Hare Krishna, see you all next
Dandavad.
Saturday, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hare
Vanchkal
Krishna.
Patar Vyasa Kripa Sindhu Vyasa Tidanam Pavane Vaishnava Assemble Bhakti Vrindi Ki Jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.